Good evening, Cambridge. I'm extremely happy to see you all tonight. I would like to thank you to CCTV to letting me be here in front of you tonight. So the Good Evening Cambridge is the show about something interesting, like interviews with unique people, places, some excitement, or like beautiful places where you can go with your friends and family. The recipes of my favorite dishes, and etc., etc., etc. But tonight I am going to talk about something really serious. I'm going to talk about the presidential candidates for 2016 campaign. Last week I covered three of the candidates. It was Jeb Bush, Ben Carson, and Lincoln Chafee. And tonight I'm going to talk about a little bit more of them. So I choose alphabetical order to be fair. So it doesn't matter Democrat or Republican. So I'm just going to talk about all of them in one list. I mean, not one list, but week by week. So there is 5 Democrats and 17 Republicans have announced that they are running for their party in 2016 to run for president. And one of them is Chris Christie. Christopher James Christie has been the governor of New Jersey since 2010. Prior to that, he was the U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey from 2001 to 2008. Although he was cleared from wrongdoing in the Bridgegate scandal, Christie's reputation still suffers from it. Christie is well known for having a moderate to conservative record in deep blue New Jersey, and vehemently defending that record against hecklers, including teachers' union members. Christie said the National Teachers Union deserved a punch in the face in the August 2015 interview. While serving as a U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey, Christie stressed that simply being in this country without proper documentation is not a crime, but rather a civil wrong, and that undocumented people are not criminals unless they have re-entered the country after being deported. Christie has said that he favored New Jersey's law allowing same-sex couples to form civil unions, but wouldn't veto any bill legalizing same-sex marriage in New Jersey, saying, "I also believe marriage should be exclusively between one man and one woman. If a bill legalizing same-sex marriage came to my desk as a governor, I would veto it." In August 2013, Christie signed a bill to ease restrictions for children in a program. Christie is opposed to legalization of recreational marijuana use. He believes that marijuana, being a gateway drug, and the taxes from its sale are bloody money. Christie said he would crack down on states that have ended the prohibition of cannabis if he were president. I also have a short video to show you. Give me just 1 second. I will put that out. A short video, that happens a week ago on a debate on the Fox channel. So maybe you will understand who Chris Christie is. Let's take a look on the screen.
Gentlemen, we're going to switch topics now and talk a bit about terror and national security. Governor Christie, you have said that Senator Paul's opposition to the NSA's collection of phone records has made the United States weaker and more vulnerable, even going so far as to say that he should be called before Congress to answer for it if we should be hit by another terrorist attack. Do you really believe you can assign blame to Senator Paul just for opposing the bulk collection of people's phone records in the event of a terrorist attack?
Yes, I do. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm the only person on this stage who's actually filed applications under the Patriot Act, who have gone before the the Foreign Intelligence Service Court, who has prosecuted and investigated and jailed terrorists in this country after September 11th. I was appointed U.S. Attorney by President Bush on September 10th, 2001, and the world changed enormously the next day. and it happened in my state. This is not theoretical to me. I went to the funerals. We lost friends of ours in the Trade Center that day. My own wife was 2 blocks from the Trade Center that day at her office, having gone through it that morning. When you actually have to be responsible for doing this, you can do it, and we did it for 7 years in my office, respecting civil liberties and protecting the homeland. And I will make no apologies ever for protecting the lives and the safety of the American people. We have to give more tools to our folks to be able to do that, not fewer, and then trust those people and oversee them to do it the right way. As president, that is exactly what I'll do.
Megan, may I respond?
Go ahead, sir.
I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from innocent Americans. The Fourth Amendment was what we fought the revolution over. John Adams said it was the spark that led to our war for independence, and I'm proud of standing for the Bill of Rights, and I will continue to stand for the Bill of Rights.
And Megan, that's a completely ridiculous answer. I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from other people. How are you supposed to know, Megan?
Use the Fourth Amendment.
How are you supposed
Use
to?
the Fourth
No, I'll tell you how you
get a warrant.
Let me tell you something.
Get a judge to sign a warrant.
Senator.
Go ahead, wait, Governor Christie, make your point.
Listen, Senator, when you're sitting in a subcommittee just blowing hot air about this, you can say things like that. When you're responsible for protecting the lives of the American people, then what you need to do is to make sure that you use the system the way it's supposed to work.
Here's the problem, Governor. You fundamentally misunderstand the Bill of Rights. Every time you did a case, you got a warrant from a judge. I'm talking about searches without warrants, indiscriminately of all Americans' records, and that's what I fought to end. I don't trust President Obama with our records. I know you gave him a big hug, and if you want to give him a big hug again, go right ahead.
Go ahead, Governor.
And Senator Paul, the hugs that I remember are the hugs that I gave to the families who lost their people on September 11th. Those are the hugs I remember, and those had nothing to do with politics, unlike what you're doing by cutting speeches on the floor of the Senate, then putting them on the internet within a half an hour to raise money for your campaign, and while still putting our country at risk.
All right, we're going to cut it off there. We have plenty more we want to get to.
So let me ask you, it's a good segue. Are you going to feel like,
Yep. The next candidate in my list is Ted Cruz. So Rafael Edward Cruz is the junior United States Senator from Texas, a Republican who he has elected senator in 2012, and is the first Hispanic or Cuban American to serve as a United States Senator from Texas. Cruz is pro-life. The only exception to his pro-life views is when a pregnancy endangers the mother's life. Cruz supports legally defined marriage as only between one woman and one man, but believes that the legality of same-sex marriage should be left to each state to decide. Cruz is a gun rights supporter. Cruz is a gun rights supporter. Cruz is a proponent of school choice. So I found a video for you, which one I would like to check out. A little interview, not too little actually. Ted Cruz with Martha McCollum. I hope you will like that. So please take a look on the screen.
Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz, who joins us now. Senator, welcome. Good to have you here in America's Newsroom. Thanks for being here.
Martha, it's great to be with you.
So you heard the assessment of Mr. Hume. He said, we heard really nothing, spectacular, and nobody really stood out. So that's the work that's cut out for you, to stand out and break away from this pack. How are you going to do that?
Well, I'll tell you, at the end of the day, the voices I'm listening to are not really coming from Washington. The voices I'm listening to are coming from the state of Iowa, the state of New Hampshire, the state of South Carolina. And I'll tell you, in the 4 weeks since we launched this campaign, the energy and the excitement and the enthusiasm we've seen has been off the charts. Heidi and I, we took our girls, we went barnstorming through all 3 early primary states. Every event we saw was packed. It was standing room only. A lot of the local press reported the crowds showing up were double the size of any other candidate.
What do you think it is about you that's going to make you different from Rand Paul, who we're going to speak to in a little while, and some of the other candidates that are sort of, you know, collecting? Jeb Bush, Scott Walker, Marco Rubio. What makes you different?
Well, I think there are sharp differences between our records, and I think what Republican primary voters are looking for is a leader who will stand for conservative principles and fight. If you think of the great issues and challenges of the day, think back at the last couple of years, the dozen biggest fights we've had, whether it's standing up to stop Obamacare, standing up to stop the debt that's bankrupting our kids and grandkids, or standing up to stop President Obama's unconstitutional executive amnesty, or standing up to defend the First Amendment, free speech and religious liberty, to defend the Second Amendment, or to defend the Fourth and Fifth Amendments and privacy, or to defend the 10th Amendment and stop Common Core, or standing up for life and marriage, or standing up to strengthen our friendship with Israel and to stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. On every one of those issues, I think the questions primary voters are going to ask is who has actually walked the walk. And what I've tried to do in my time in the Senate on every one of those issues is stand and walk the walk.
So you say that, you know, you're not too concerned about the middle ground, about getting the independent voter and convincing people that you're not too conservative, which is the label that a lot of people put on you. You're more concerned about turning out the base. Tell us about that strategy.
Well, listen, I believe in common sense conservative values. I believe in, for example, live within your means. Don't bankrupt our kids and grandkids. Follow the Constitution. It is only in Washington that those are viewed as radical or extreme views. In the rest of America, those bring people together. Those are values that bring together Republicans, Democrats, independents, libertarians. You know, one of the things I'm most encouraged about is we are seeing the old Reagan coalition come together supporting our campaign. We're seeing conservatives and evangelicals and libertarians and young people and women.
So you think if all of those people in the conservative bases, it's called, turn out for you, that you don't really need the independent voter?
I think you absolutely want the independent voter, and I think the way you win the independent voter is by standing clearly for common sense values. You know, if you compare 2004, the last race Republicans won, to 2008 and 12, by far the biggest difference is the millions of conservatives who showed up in 04, who stayed home in 2008, stayed home even more in 12.
Says that your numbers aren't right on that.
Well, you know, the data speak for themselves. Millions of evangelical Christians and millions of Reagan Democrats showed up in 04 and have stayed home for the last two cycles. And the key, if we want to win, is bringing those conservative back. And interestingly enough, when you stand for principle, when you draw a line in the sand, it does two things. It brings out millions of conservatives, but it also earns you crossover votes. Reagan Democrats, the only Republican in 50 years with a group of Democrats named after him, didn't get it by running to the mushy middle. He got it by standing for the values that make America strong.
So if you prevail, Hillary Clinton could very likely be the person that you go up against. She is being criticized for using her influence as Secretary of State to basically bring in money to her family's coffers and to the Clinton Foundation as well. How big a deal is this? Do you think this is something that could potentially push her out of the race?
Look, I think it is a real problem with someone who's holding themselves out as they want to be president of the United States, for them to have accepted millions of dollars from foreign nations over and over and over again, both to the foundation and in speaking fees for her husband, especially while she was Secretary of State. And it's one manifestation of a broader problem, which is the culture of corruption in Washington. I think the 2016 general election, the way we win is to run a populist campaign on behalf of hardworking men and women across America who want to believe again in the promise of America, and to run it against the bipartisan corruption of Washington. Career politicians in both parties that keep growing government and debt.
Bring out that idea of corruption and bring that into more focus, perhaps. You and John McCain have had words over the time that you've been working as a senator. The most recent back and forth is that in New Hampshire, you said that you were pressing him to allow the military to carry concealed weapons on bases, and you felt that that would prevent things like what we saw happen at Fort Hood. Here's what John McCain says about it. He says you're not pressing him on it. He says it came as a complete surprise to me that he had been pressing me. Maybe it was some medium that I'm not familiar with. Maybe it was through hand telegraph, maybe sign language. He's making a joke out of the whole thing. What say you?
Oh, I like John McCain. He's always voluble. He can always be counted on for a good quote. Listen, the question of concealed carry on military bases is an issue I've raised repeatedly. I've raised it at open hearings of the Senate Armed Services Committee, hearings where John McCain was, I believe, present at those hearings, and I also urged the prior chairman, Carl Levin, in writing, to hold hearings on allowing our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines to carry weapons on military bases. Now, I will acknowledge I may have misspoken in New Hampshire when I said that I've been pressing John McCain, and that what I have been pressing is the Armed Services Committee, and John McCain is the new chairman of it. And so I had sent a letter to the previous chairman, but I had not communicated that to John directly, although I had at a hearing, and will continue to raise it with John McCain, because the committee ought to listen to the military's arguments. The military brass opposes this. We ought to hear their arguments, but I'm a big believer in defending the Second Amendment rights of everyone, including our soldiers.
Senator, thank you very much. Good to have you here today. Hope to see you back
Martha.
soon.
Still to come, Senator Rand Paul
I am
battling
happy
with
today
Senator Cruz
because
and
we will cover the letter C. Next on my list is the Hillary Clinton, who is the best known candidate in the race. Voters are familiar with her from her time as a Secretary of State, 2008 presidential campaign, and time in the United States Senate. And her husband is obviously pretty famous too. So Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton is a former First Lady, former United States Secretary of State in the admission of President Barack Obama from 2009 to 2013, and former United States Senator representing New York from 2001 to 2009. A native of Illinois, Hillary Rodham was the first student commencement speaker at Wellesley College in 1969, and she earned a GD from Yale Law School in 1973. After a stint as a congressional legal counsel, she moved to Arkansas and married Bill Clinton in 1975. She said, "Every day Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion." Young Hillary Rodham wasn't initially interested in politics. She had dreamed of becoming a baseball player, a journalist, and an astronaut, according to the National Constitution Center. Fun fact about Hillary Clinton, that she won a Grammy in 1997 for Best Spoken Word album for the audio version of her book, It Takes a Village. Okay, I got here a video for you, but we don't really have too much time to watch it, but we'll watch it just a little bit.
Well, welcome to Exeter. Before we begin, I want to just say that my thoughts are once again with the people of Ferguson as they mark this painful anniversary, and in light of the continuing violence that we saw last night. You know, violence has no place in our streets, and we should all be working for peace and justice there and everywhere in our country. I'd like to make two quick points and then take your questions. First, in announcing my plan to put college within reach for everyone, the new college compact, I am emphasizing the two parts to this compact. No family and no student should have to borrow to pay tuition at a public college or university, and everyone who has student debt should be able to refinance it at lower rates. Cost won't be a barrier, and debt won't hold you back under my plan. I wanted to make this announcement here in New Hampshire because students carry one of the highest debt burdens in the country, nearly $33,000 for average graduates of four-year colleges, but obviously much more, as we heard from the last young man that I called on. And the cost of community college here is nearly twice what is paid, next door in Maine. Governor Hassan is working to reverse the dramatic decline in state investment in higher education that has shifted the costs onto students and families, but that's only the beginning of what needs to be done, and certainly the federal government has to be a partner in moving this compact forward. So I'm looking forward to discussing this further tomorrow, then next week in Iowa and elsewhere. Second, I want to add my voice to all those who have expressed outrage and disappointment about the decision last week by the Executive Council to cut off funding for Planned Parenthood in New Hampshire. It's appalling that 3 men sitting in the chambers of the Executive Council would deny women across this state the health care they need and deserve. It shows yet again why we need more leaders like Governor Hassan and Senator Shaheen who are willing to stand up for women, and just how out of touch and out of date Republican leaders are. That's what we saw at the debate on Thursday night. None of the candidates offered solutions for how to make college affordable or how to raise incomes for hardworking families. They don't even talk about the real pressures facing American families. And while what Donald Trump said about Megyn Kelly is outrageous, what the rest of the Republicans are saying about all women is also outrageous. They brag about slashing women's health care funding. They say they would force women who've been raped to carry their rapist's child, and we don't hear any of them supporting raising the minimum wage, paid leave for new parents, access to quality child care, equal pay for women, or anything else that will help to, give women a chance to get ahead. Megyn Kelly is a strong woman and more than capable of defending herself against Donald Trump. I'm worried about what Republican policies would do to the rest of America's women, and I will continue to speak out and speak up about that today and through the rest of this campaign and in the White House. So with that, hi, I'm good. How are you doing? I'm looking forward to debating. First, my friends and colleagues on the Democratic side, and then, finally having a chance to debate the Republicans about whatever their nominee has to say. I'm going to show up for the debates as they are scheduled, and I look forward to having a robust.
Maybe it's not a really good video to look because we don't really hear what the journalist asking, but I have another one. This one will.
Okay, tomorrow's
you will
the
like
big
that
day,
one.
Mrs. Clinton. You're finally going to announce that you're running for president.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I have it in me. I'm scared. I'm kidding. Let's do this.
Oh, Hillary, you put the hill in hilarious. Now, since we're announcing your candidacy via social media, we thought it would be fun if you actually filmed the video yourself on your own phone. That way it seems more personal and intimate.
Personal and intimate, yes. I better take off this jacket then.
That's much better. Now, want to do some vocal warm-ups and then we'll get started?
Ooh, okay, I'd love to. Hillary's a granny with a twinkle in her eye. Hillary's a granny and she makes an apple pie. First female president, me, 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 me.
Hey, great, Mrs. Clinton. Okay, now hold up your phone and you can just look natural, okay? Okay. And maybe you want to soften a little. Okay, a little more. Okay, maybe a lot more. Great. Great, okay, and action.
Citizens, you will elect me. I will be your leader.
Okay, great. Let's stop there.
No? Okay, okay.
Ma'am, I think you may be coming off as just a little hard.
Oh, shoot. What part? What part?
Well, sort of all of it. But that's okay. Let's try again. And remember, you said this new campaign is not about you. You know, it's about the people. So let's try one where you don't say I or even your own name.
Okay. Oh, that'll be easy. Got it. Hello, 'tis I, Hillary Clinton.
Let's stop again, okay? You said I and your full name immediately.
Yes. Oh, shoot, I did?
Yeah, but don't worry. Okay. We'll just delete that one off your phone.
Okay. Well, know a thing or two about that, right? Oh, Christina, meet my hand in the air.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes. Good.
Okay, let's keep going, and this time maybe focus on all that you've done for women's rights.
Oh, okay, that's good. I am running because I want to be a voice for women everywhere.
Did someone say women everywhere? Hillary would make a great president, and I would make an even greater first dude.
Thank you, Bill. That's nice.
Hillary, isn't it crazy that phones can take videos now? Yeah. I mean, if they could have done that in the 90s.
On that really funny video, I'm gonna stop my show tonight. I hope you're gonna see me next week. I'll be here on CCTV channel 9, 8:30 as usual. Please follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and like my page on Facebook. I'll be more than happy to hear any comment from you. So I wish you a great evening, have a great night and a weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye.